Listen, Max, I'm right here. I'm gonna look after you.
He left us. He left us.
But that's not what I'm gonna do.
Ladies and gentlemen, you know, we all love EA, and I think that EA's been doing some tremendous work in the last 6 months.
I don't believe it.
I think they've got a lot of wins, for sure. And the last thing that I think they would ever want is for someone to leave that might be, you know, a fantastic writer, that may be, you know, responsible for keeping EA and Anthem alive. I'm not saying that anyone's left, I'm just merely throwing that out there.
What's the point of sarcasm?
The reason I'm swigging so heavily at my coffee this morning is because Drew Carpathian, the fucking guy, the dude that had me actually excited for Anthem.
That had me at hello.
Just had me at hello? I don't know. What the hell are you talking about? He just left Bioware.
He just left.
Ladies and gentlemen, let me just have one more swig of coffee before we get into this.
That's not coffee, by the way.
It's Irish coffee.
It's hard liquor.
Less the coffee.
Sweet liquor eases the pain.
Demonetized alcohol.
Drew Carpathian. Now, a lot of you guys don't know who Drew Carpathian is. If you've ever played Baldur's Gate 2, if you've ever played Jade Empire, Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic, which is a game, Sam, you've actually played that, right?
I finished it.
Okay, fair enough.
See, Ralph thinks I don't play any games, okay? I do play games.
Sam has played 4 games, okay?
4 games, and one of them is Overwatch.
You're an idiot.
If you've played Star Wars The Old Republic even, then you would have encountered the work of Drew Carpathian. He's been the lead writer at Bioware for almost all of their major franchises except for Dragon Age. One little one that I left off there was Mass Effect 1 and 2. Now, we all remember Mass Effect. Did you actually play Mass Effect?
I played number 1.
Okay, cool. Mass Effect 1 and 2, incredible games because of their writing. As video games, they were fine. We just sort of ran around in circles. But what we were really there for was to have sex with aliens,
yes.
Okay? And Drew was the man that made all that sex with aliens possible. He was a genius. And then Mass Effect 3 happened.
I know.
With its very
the train wreck of Mass Effect 3.
Sorry, my face is tired.
With its very interesting ending, and funnily enough, Drew Carpathian was not on Mass Effect 3. His ending was actually thrown out and rewritten by someone else at the studio. Drew Carpathian is the heart and soul, broadly speaking, of BioWare's storytelling. When people talk about old school BioWare, they're really talking about awesome, deep RPGs, which they don't make anymore, by the way, and they're talking about incredible storytelling, and he has been at the helm of that.
I think he actually, he set the standard for a lot of stories of how it should be told in certain genres.
He's the greatest video games writer that's ever worked. There's no one that has had a more consistent, better body of work across video games than Drew Carpathian. Like, just no one. I put out a video about Anthem. This is before the dark times.
Yes.
Before EA.
You know, before it was cool to hate EA, okay? I was like, listen, let's give Anthem a chance. It looks pretty cool. It could be great, okay?
Yeah.
And in that video, I said, there's lots of reasons to be cautious, but the number one reason that I'm optimistic about Anthem, the number one thing that I think is going to get it over the line is Drew Carpathian.
Yeah, and I honestly wonder. I agree with that. I mean, I think he was the shining star. Like, you're looking at him going, if all else fails, the story will be fantastic. Yeah, you know?
Totally.
And it begs the question, you know, I think EA would have bent over backwards to make sure that he was there because they know they needed someone to pull through. If you're going to be immersed in a world, you need to make sure that that story is compelling enough to keep you engaged. And EA is not in the position right now to just throw out another massive game like Anthem and let it fail.
Yeah.
It begs the question, is it because he didn't fundamentally agree with some of the things that they wanted to input into the game? We don't know. We don't know. That's the first thing. We don't know.
There are his stated reasons for why he's leaving, and I have no reason to doubt the man, by the way, because, you know, I'm sure he's a great guy. I respect his work tremendously. He just says he's moving on to other projects. He says that it's been very difficult for him to balance his freelance obligations. He wants to write novels and do all that sort of stuff on the side. And in addition, he actually said that he's going to work for a different video game company. He says, I'm not leaving games entirely. As of Monday, I'm officially working with Fogbank Entertainment and Fox Next Games. I can't say a lot about what we're up to yet, but here's the official announcement. They're a new studio that's formed with 20 people, industry veterans, and they're working on narrative-focused games. It strikes me as passing strange that he would say, I'm too busy to work at BioWare because I need to do freelance stuff, but also I'm going to work for another startup game studio, because startups harder work than working at a big, cushy Bioware-sized studio. Do you know what I mean?
That doesn't make sense.
There's less people there. You've got to make sure that it's a winner. You know, I would say that, you know, that's when you probably need to put more time, more effort, more care into making sure that that story is going to really give that new studio its opportunity to succeed.
So again, I'm not calling the man a liar. As I said, tremendous respect for Drew.
I think this sounds very kind of corporate excuse kind of thing. It's like a generic, oh, it's, you know, too much time constraint, not allowing me to focus on other projects. In my opinion, Anthem is like the project you'd want to be like, most people would dream of that. So I just don't understand why he would make it sound like it's no longer a priority, you know?
I don't know. It doesn't make sense.
It's
to
really
me,
weird. It's really weird.
But,
you know?
but I think as well, there's also a theory that's circulating, and that will circulate further, that the writing is already done on Anthem, and that there's no place for him. Now that just can't possibly be true. Anyone that knows about how big scale AAA games are made knows that there's always tweaks to the writing process during the entire development cycle. Destiny 1 was basically completely rewritten in the last year after the Dark Times. And I guess this is probably a really interesting segue, because very much the same thing happened with Destiny 1. Joseph Staten, who was the writer for Halo, he wrote Destiny 1, presented it to the leadership of Bungie. They didn't like the story and they threw it out completely, and then Joseph Staten ended up leaving Bungie altogether. And the story that we got instead of that was just like famously bad, right? Now, certainly not suggesting that the same sort of thing has happened here with Drew, but it does make me very nervous. The idea that their lead writer is leaving a year out from the release of this game. A man of his stature, his contribution, his capability, leaving this project at that time, it just immediately rings Destiny alarm bells in my head. Like, are we seeing it all over again? God, I hope not.
It could be a situation where he has finished that writing to a point where he can still advise if there is tweaks, you know.
That can't be true, because this is a live game. This game lives for the next forever, right? Even if he has finished just the beginning part, he's going to be working on the next 4 or 5 story drops and then the sequel and all that sort of shit. Like, there's a huge amount of work to be done on this franchise. There's no way it's like, oh, I'm done with Anthem. And he actually didn't say that here either. He didn't say, I've done all my work on Anthem, it's all done, I'm good. He didn't say that. He basically said, I'm out, you know?
Yeah.
So I suspect that
there's problems
behind
closed doors.
Problems, but I just suspect that it's a work unfinished for Drew, and I don't expect we're going to see all of his genius fully realized when it comes to the final release.
We might just see the story like going like this, and then you can tell when he leaves. It's like,
like the Act 3 of Metal Gear or whatever. Like, they ran out of money, you know.
Any change, mister? Absolutely. Could you spare some? Yes, I could. Will ya?
So look, it's an interesting circumstance. I personally wish Drew all the best. As I said, tremendous respect for that man. I really am very nervous about Anthem. You know, before all the loot box garbage, there was still like, can Bioware really pull this off? And then we had all the loot box garbage, and now we're losing the top talent on the team. It's sad.
But like, what happens if like EA's like, okay, we can't get someone that's going to be as good as at writing, and they just throw out the story and you just land in this area, and they're like, what's the story? What am I supposed to do? And then you have 45 hours of just like walking around, killing animals, calling it Monster Hunter Anthem.
Loot box hunting. Loot box hunter.
Loot box hunter. That is it.
They're renaming Anthem Loot Box Hunter.
100%.
They can see the success of Monster Hunter combined with EA.
Ultimate Team.
Loot box hunter.